What's going on, Giants fans? Brandon London here, alongside of our New York Post NFL reporter. You do it all, Jared. Jared Schwartz, right here. This is your Blue Rush Giants post-game live show. Giants lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 30-7. Jared, one word to describe this loss. I was going to go embarrassing, but that means that there should be that means that I say embarrassing because there was hope there.
Yeah. It's
You're way better with your words than me. You write for a living. What one word describe?
I would go uncompetitive. I mean, there was no part of this game that was competitive from the first minute, from the first play to the last play. Not competitive on offense, not competitive stopping the run, not competitive stopping Baker Mayfield in the air. Just not competitive anywhere. And something that stands out to me is this is a Buccaneers team that had lost 4 straight games. They were a team that was reeling. They hadn't won a game in a month. The Giants are like medicine for opponents. A team that is struggling, they get to come to MetLife Stadium. I mean, Baker Mayfield, is taunting the Giants with Tommy DeVito's celebration. It's like medicine. Getting to play the Giants is like medicine for them. It's like a nice
get
little
right game. Call it what it is, a get right game. That's what we say. That's what we say as players. It's a get right game. Go. Keep going.
These other teams are circling the Giants on their calendar, not because it's a big game, because it's a get right game, because it's an easy game, because it's, we're penciling that in for a win. You could look on the Giants schedule and look, maybe they have a chance in this one, or maybe they have a chance in that one, but everybody else was looking at them as a tonic, as a nice beer on an afternoon. It's a nice, the Buccaneers came into MetLife Stadium and made it their playground. There was no resistance. There was no fight back. There was nothing. It's the Giants are the punching bag right now with little punch back.
I think for me, and I think for a lot of the fan base, it's the fact that you continue to hold on to the hope. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs this year? No, absolutely not. The season's over. Did I think they were going to make the playoffs going into the season? I said, I don't know. I said, it's like my dad used to tell me when I was a kid. I'm like Missouri, the show me state. Like he used to say, I had the Giants on, show me. You brought in Brian Burns, Malik Neighbors gets drafted, and you're thinking, and then you bring in Jermaine Illuminor, Roden, and Runyon, and you're like, okay, they kind of shored up that offensive line. And you go into each game with hope. You're looking at the Minnesota Vikings game, first game of the season. It's like, it's Sam Darnold. Took an L there. You go up against the Cowboys. They couldn't stop anybody. The Bengals, they couldn't stop anybody. You lose those games. You should have beat the Washington Commanders. So I think the thing that is hurting me, and I think I can share this sentiment of a lot of the fan base because I speak with them. I talk to these guys. I'm around the stadium the entire game. And I think it's the hope. Everybody still has hope in the sense that it's at least going to, and now going forward, it's at least going to be a close game. You had the hope. You came into this game. It's like Tommy DeVito breathed life into the organization in that team last year. And I was working my wrist all week. I was ready to do it. I even had the emoji. It's in like my top 10 emojis because I've been using it the entire week. And then you go out.
Clearly, Baker Mayfield was too. He was preparing to.
And when Baker is one of those, I'm on my revenge tour type guys as well. So, when Baker was going to have some success, he was going to try and show up, not only the organization, but, the fan base in the stadium as well. So that hope, man, is what still had a packed stadium to start the game. But at the end of the day, when the product doesn't match the hope and the expectation, this is what we get. And we got it again. And now they're 2-9.
And now, there's just so much apathy, so much little caring you feel like in the stands. By the time they're down 14-0, 21-7 or whatever it is. And one thing that caught my eye was, after going back to that Baker Mayfield scores and does Tommy DeVito's, trademark celebration. And he didn't just do it. He did it with 2 hands. He did it once, jogged a little bit, then did it again. He made sure to rub it in. He made sure everybody saw it, that it wasn't just him doing it once, that he was really rubbing it in. And OC, the great OC Umaniora tweeted, you obviously know OC.
Yep.
He said there has to be a response to that. There just has to be. Performance, forget about performance, final score, their record. Just there has to be some kind of, this guy is on your home stadium.
Yeah.
Look, Tommy DeVito is not some, beloved giant yet, but he's your starting quarterback, and he's getting, you're getting taunted. Your quarterback is getting taunted. Your fans are getting taunted. There's got to be, this is the great OC Umaniora, a Super Bowl champion, part of great teams, part
Legend.
of the greatest teams that this, franchise has put together, saying there has to be some kind of response, just something. And there's nothing, there's no response. There's no hard hit after that. They don't hit Baker that hard after that. And, these are the kinds of games that, we don't anticipate big changes, at head coach and general manager, but, these are just the kinds of games that make you maybe just throw some doubt into that. It's you're at home and you're not competitive. These are the games that make you feel a little different type of way than just, and another loss. And we've got 6 more weeks to go. We're not closing out the season here. We've got Thanksgiving, a national primetime television game. They're going to be back on primetime. And, people are laughing at the Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito matchup, but they're going to be watching. It's on Thanksgiving. People drink beer and have turkey and watch football on Thanksgiving. So, they're going to be in the limelight again. And if it's anything like that, they're going to be embarrassed again on national TV.
First and foremost, I want no more beer after that Germany trip. So I will have the spiked eggnog. But you're right. I'm just thinking about when I drive, me, my son, my brother, and his girlfriend drive home for Thanksgiving. I got half the family that are Cowboys fans. The other half is just like, pretty much indifferent. And we just want to talk trash to my grandma, who's a Cowboys fan, and my older brother. But when we talk about what the Giants can line up with and what they look like right now, we don't it's like, what Giants team are you going to get? Really, there's only one team. There's only one version of this team right now. And, we're talking about Derek Hagan is going to try and join us. He's kind of backed up right now. He's going to try and log in with us when he can. D Hage's going to text me in a bit to hopefully to get him in this room. Thanks for watching, though, guys. Right now, man, and I'm looking at that locker, and I'm looking at that locker room with the leaders in that locker room, the guys who care. For sure, the Brian Burns, the Dexter Lawrences, those guys. Malik Neighbors, you can tell, a young rookie who's got the weight of the world on his shoulder to compete and to be something special. But it's hard for him to do that. It's hard for guys to get evaluated right now. And I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles and all. But to go back to what you said about the doubt process. Right now, I really thought Brian Dable and Tommy DeVito was going to be a lot more competitive, and I don't know, you put that on DeVito, do you put that on Brian Dable? I'm a Brian Dable guy. Like if he goes, then I kind of go per se, and I'm not going nowhere, but I kind of go like, man, I wanted that guy to be the head coach to take the Giants to the promised land. Or whatnot, but I really thought we were going to get more. DeVito, his opening numbers in the first half, I hope we can get that up on the lower third. I think he was 5 for 9 and for 40-something yards. The pass game was lethargic. The pass game was absolutely not there. He ends the day 21 for 31 for $189. And if you look at that, that's kind of what his numbers were last year, Jared. He only had one game where he went over 200 yards.
People forget when he won those 3 games last year, they had a crazy amount of takeaways on defense.
Yes.
Tommy did lead them to a game-winning drive against the Packers, and they did, some other good stuff. But he wasn't throwing for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns every game, and the Giants did have a couple fumbles, but this is still a defense that has had 0 interceptions, I think, since week 1. I mean, that's pretty
Since
stark.
and the rookie linebacker Musa,
Darius Musa got
Yep.
got it on with the last drive of week 1. They have not had an interception since. I mean, that's I don't know, what's to anyway. And it's weird because they actually have a good pass rush. They actually get to the quarterback, which conventional thinking is if you can get to the quarterback, force him into bad decisions, and maybe makes a bad throw. But it seems like those bad throws never exist against the Giants.
Didn't see that at all today. And even when the pass rush was kind of getting there to kind of make Baker get the ball out, there were guys just open. There were guys just sitting at the sticks on third and let's say if it was 3rd and 10, there was a guy sitting there at third at 10 and a half to complete a first down. You saw in the second half, they just drove down the field on a couple of the touchdowns like it was absolutely nothing. And when we have conversations with guys like Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, and I believe it was right before the Seattle Seahawks week when I'm asking Brian Burns, like, how do you get after Geno Smith? How do you force him to make some sort of mistakes? He said, first and foremost, it starts with stopping the run. You got to earn the right to rush. Now, Bucky, I forget the running back's last name, Bucky Irving. They were able to have success 3, 4, 5 yards a pop on first and second down to put them in third and manageables and to put Baker in the situations to where you didn't put pressure on Baker in terms of pass rush, nor pressure on him in terms of putting him in third and longs. I think this today was probably the worst outing for the defense all season.
And
that's scary because these guys have shown up week in, week out. They've been, they've given up a little something here, big play there. But if you look at the Carolina game, they started off slow and then they buckled down towards the end. We didn't see that at all this game, Jerry.
And, why that's scary is we still have, there's not 2 games left or 1 game left. There's 6 games left. And, it's not Madden or a FIFA franchise where you can, sim and you can just sim the next 6 weeks and then go to the draft, and just jump to the NFL draft. People don't want to watch. People want to think about Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Justin Fields or, whoever they're going to get next. But, we've got months to go. We still have to play 6 games and, these guys still have to get dressed 6 times and still take the field 6 times and get hit 6 times. Like we can't just sim to April where, they draft a new quarterback. So,
but even worse, you got to go out to practice for those 6 weeks. Now, so, it's cold in North Jersey. And you're going out there. It's like, as a player, you're like, what?
I mean, that's why today
to the games.
Today is scary because, you see a defense that had been at least competitive today, just completely, lay an egg. And, is that a sign that they're just going through the motions now? They're just kind of playing out the string that this is a team that saw, Daniel Jones benched and then cut, they have a new quarterback in. Is this a team that's just going to go through the motions for 6 more weeks now? And what is that going to look like for, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen?
And I sure do hope not, man, because last year they rallied behind Tommy DeVito. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily going to say behind, like they were like, oh my gosh, this is our QB1, but they felt the energy. They felt the energy. It was exciting. Like you say, it was led by the defense. Those wins were led by the defense. That Monday night game against Green Bay, defense was lights out against Jordan Love to where it was almost, I think I remember tweeting after the game, it's like, yo, Tommy DeVito just showed up Jordan Love. But no, the Giants defense kind of shut out and shut down Jordan Love and that Packers offense. We didn't see that today. And, when I was, I just did the postgame show, the Giants postgame show on MSG, and myself and Paul Dottino were talking about what can we talk about. Dexter Lawrence. And we were talking about the hangover. Is there a hangover? Obviously, the loss in Munich, how the way you lost that, and then everything that went down with Daniel, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, the quarterback situation. Was there some sort of hangover? You saw a slow and lethargic start, both on the defense and offensive end. How and why? Like how and like I'm so confused and so frustrated. Like, with the way they started this game because
it felt so expected. It felt like they expected to lose and they lost.
I don't feel like I don't feel like it was like an expectation. I feel like this team was just like they felt like they came out like I'm a beaten dog right now. Like we've gone through numerous one possession losses, which can mess with you a little bit. At the end of the day, you're a professional athlete getting paid XYZ. So it is what it is, but that can get at you a little bit. That can bring in a little self-doubt. The Carolina Panther game hurt to lose it like that. And then all of the Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito situation. My 07 team, well, not my 07, the 07 team that I was on, and I saw Jeff Fiegels today, Corey Webster, and R.W. McCorders ring the bell. I also saw Jay Alford. We would have looked at something like that, or Antonio Pierce, or Amani Toomer, or Eli would have looked at some sort of adversity, and it would have been practice that week would have been they would have smashed my head off as a
figure out how to solve the problem. If problems arose, they made sure they were solved. If a game like today happens, a game like today happens, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable that week in practice because there's just a standard, and can this team, after a game like today, what is, Dexter Lawrence can only get up there and give so many speeches. They can only have so many players-only meetings.
He played his butt off too, man.
Dable can only say the same thing over and over again, every week. Eventually, what is going to, flip a switch? Is it just getting a better quarterback? I think, the latest
here and let's adjust this. Let's address this because we got about 5 minutes. Oh. My you were breaking up, so I thought you stopped.
No, that's okay.
We were talking about I kind of think you're kind of alluding to the what to do now. Do you tank? Like, what do you do? And we got comments here, so let's bring in some of these some of the viewers. Thank you guys for rocking with us. It's your Blue Rush post-game live show. Giants lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as you guys know. I just have to throw that out for the new people who are in the room. Raise trains. You say, Brandon says this team shouldn't tank all week. LOL. I don't want to hear it anymore. Do you not understand? Tell Dexter Lawrence to go tank. Tell those guys tell Dexter and these guys that are giving their all. Brian Burns, guys getting double team, putting in that work, trying to get after a quarterback, XYZ. Tell a guy who, and let's talk the money aspect of it. If I'm 10 catches, 8 to 10 catches away from a $150,000 bonus, you think I'm going to drop that rock? You think I'm going to put some sort of intentionally put some sort of sloppy football on tape where you're not just getting evaluated on the all 22 by podcast people, by scouts, by NFL executives. So if it's something to where that you want to tank, you want to drop that ball because I want the Giants to get Shedeur Sanders, they might not even bring you back next year. So what are people talking about when it comes to tanking? There's zero tanking that's not a real thing when it comes to the players. It's a fan thing and it's a media thing. So get off me when it comes to this tank thing, because you may not hit. Who knows if Cam Ward is the savior? Who knows if Shedeur Sanders is the savior? The Carolina Panthers thought Bryce Young was going to be that guy.
Jaguars thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be a savior.
They thought they were going to be that guy. So go away with that. That's the guy y'all want, that y'all think is going to save the franchise and all that. I get that. I'm with that. I'm with all that. But that doesn't mean that just day one, this guy's going to come in and beat Jaden Daniels. Go ahead.
Also, with the tanking thing, one of the reasons that Joe Schoen has, reason for optimism, and one of the reasons he's selling this project is how young the team is. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. And he's been happy with his rookie class. Tyler Nubin, obviously Neighbors, Drew Phillips. Obviously, you have younger guys like Jalen Hyatt from, still trying to carve out a role. You want, it's important for them to play. They have 6 more weeks here. They can't just throw in the towel. Part of the reason you have some shred of optimism going forward is all these young players that are playing so much. You want them to develop. You want them to not just lose every game. What does losing 30-7 do good for Drew Phillips and Tyler Nubin and Tyrone Tracy and you look at Tyrone Tracy. He fumbled again today. He looks dejected on the sideline. He looks He looks mortified that he fumbled again. It's not good for him to lose every week. A young player like that, even just bigger than that, Brian Daboll, we don't think they're going to make changes there, but losing out doesn't look good for him. He's not, tell him to tank while he's, getting obliterated, from every media outlet. And also, if you want your team to tank, that means you're not eligible to criticize them, for the rest of the year. You can't both say you want a team to tank and then say how much they suck when they lose. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Is my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just so easy to take the negative approach to this team right now, and I get it, man. I get it.
It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is.
Yeah. Do you see? You're media, man. You're media. We talk all the time. We talk ball all the time. I love your articles. I love how you kind of play between the lines a little bit there. But do you see the light at the end of the tunnel?
I mean, the light has to be a new quarterback. And look, conventional thinking is not a great class for quarterbacks, and that's just assuming that the Giants can get one of those quarterbacks in the first place. But also, who the heck knows? Just because people don't consider this a great quarterback class doesn't mean Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Carson Beck or Jalen Milroe. He didn't play well yesterday, but I mean, who the heck knows? And I mean, did the Texans, was there a lot of light at the end of the Texans tunnel before we thought Stroud was, before we knew Stroud was an elite quarterback?
And remember, they hated on him for his Wonderlic test or whatever you call it now. Remember, so it's.
2 years ago, you'd say the Panthers do have a light at the end of the tunnel, drafting Bryce Young. The Texans felt like they missed out with the number 2 pick, settling for CJ Stroud. And look where the two teams are now. The Panthers are still searching for the light at the end of the tunnel, and the Texans are, a playoff team. So, it's hard to see it now. But, look at, as I'm writing for tomorrow, Baker Mayfield is a good example of how quickly things can change in the NFL. Certainly personally, but things change quickly in the NFL, as you know that better than anybody. Things change quickly. It's hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel now, but things do change quickly.
And look, man, like, I'm not jumping on you, Ray. I'm not jumping on you guys for that. And like, I had a heated discussion and debate with some fans out in the parking lot before the game when it comes to this. It's hard for me to think as an athlete, as a player, especially me who was a bubble guy his entire NFL career. So when I get in the game, you want me to drop that pass so you can get the quarterback that you think is going to save the franchise? Absolutely not. I want to buy my mother a house. I'm going to try and catch that pass right there. But I get it, man, because this is where we are when it comes to this team. It's the 100th season, and it didn't go anywhere as close to where we thought it was going to go. Now, did you have expectations that they were going to the playoffs or anything? I kind of was a little bit reserved. Again, I was Missouri, the show me state. Let me see. But I did not think it would be where they are right now. And it's almost like when a fan says something negative, I can't say anything positive back, bro. Like, you can't. I mean,
look, losing is ugly. Like, losing brings out the worst. Losing brings out the worst in us. Brings out the worst in fans.
Yeah.
Brings out the worst in players. Brings out the worst. Brings out the worst in coaches. Just some of their decision making. Losing is. It's easy to be a fan when your team is winning. It's easy to break down Giants games when they're winning. Losing brings out the worst in everybody. And it is right now. And it's it seems like this is kind of a rock bottom. 30-7 at home. That's uncompetitive, coming after a bye with a quarterback change. Looking for a spark, getting no. It feels like a rock bottom. And it, hopefully it is. The one thing you could take away from today is hopefully this is rock bottom.
I was asking people about that, but someone said, no, the Jake Fromm quarterback sneaking from your 1 yard line was the rock bottom. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to visit that place again.
I mean, if the it's hard to see another win on the Giants' schedule. I mean, 2-15 will be comparable, to that Joe Judge team.
The
And
Colts are there. The Colts are on that schedule. The
Jaguars.
Eagles at the end of the year, who they could be resting their team. But I think Daniel Jones is on that Eagles squad, and
Maybe, yeah.
like he could be on that team. But I mean, it's one of those things. Kick a team while they're down. You can't say anything back. At least you don't got guys in the locker room tweeting at fans, kind of like some of the Jets players are doing, all that.
They gotta they gotta take their lumps now. There's
Yeah.
nothing they can come back with, and you hope that it, like you said, they don't start lashing out and speaking back to fans, or what got Joe Judge at the end was he went on those very long rants after games about not being a clown show and stuff, and that didn't look good. So we hope Brian Dable doesn't start lashing out and stuff like that, which I don't think he will.
I don't think so.
Those are the things to to look for, I guess, in the next couple of weeks.
Hey, look, man, and again, I thank you guys for writing in the comments, and I wish we had some positive stuff to say, but what positive takeaways do you take away from a 30-7 at-home loss? And I'm all over the stadium jumbotron interviewing players, doing the Giants post-game live show from talking to you. Everyone feels it, from the coaches to the players to the executives to you guys, the fan base. I can try and get some sort of rah-rah speech and everybody stay together, and I can't tell you how to. You're paying for these tickets. You're paying for the merchandise. I can't tell you how to feel. I wish there's some positives from it. You want the players to kind of try and stay together as much as possible. Like Dexter Lawrence said 2 weeks ago, you're hoping the cliques don't come together and things get clicky and guys start turning against each other, and then you hoping you don't get up on Twitter and you're looking at subliminals and, it's one of those Stephon Diggs, come and rescue me type tweets or something like that. You were not there, so, I guess that can be a positive we can hang on to. But thank you to the fan base that still that stayed to the end of the game. Thank you to the ones that's taking lumps and hearing your friends and family talk trash to you, and us kind of being at the bottom of the NFL right now. Jared, it hurts us as well as media, man. Like, what are you going to write that you already haven't wrote? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
I mean, I was thinking before I came on here, like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say that we haven't talked about before, that we haven't discussed, that we haven't broken down? And, it feels like that's going to be the way it is for until this season, finishes. It's going to be a lot of more losses. There's going to be a lot of familiar themes, and it's tough to be a Giants fan because, all you can really do is watch and observe. It's like that meme, learn to sit back and observe. That's really, the Idris Elba, learn to sit back and observe. That's really, it's really all you can do now is sit back, observe the things that are going on, observe how these young players deal with all these losses, observe how Dayball deals with, all these losses, and wait for better times. There's really not much else to do.
Waiting for that day 2-3 years later where guys like Tyrone Tracy Jr., Drew Phillips, Malik Neighbors going to their first playoff or something, and they're like, or their first, NFC conference championship, and they're like, I remember those days. Those are the days that when we worked out in the summer in the heat, away from the we did that those days. So you're hoping that again, and we could be reaching with the positivity here. Nobody's trying to hear that right now, Jared. But again, as a former player, you're looking at it like these young guys are like, I'm going to be the reason why we win some games around here. I'm going to be the reason, or we guys are going to be the reason that we win some games around here. So you're hoping that's the mindset. Unfortunately, like you said, we still have 6 games left. hopefully there's some positivity there. So when we do these live streams, I'm not coming at you, Ray. Ray, again, thanks for hopping on and with the comments. Thank you for all you guys for rocking with your Blue Rush post game live show. We're just going to end that there, man, because we're just going to be talking in circles about the game, the future, and what's at stake or what's not at stake for the Giants. So lost 30-7. They fall to 2-9 on the season. Quick week, short week, which is great. So you can kind of put that to bed and get ready to go down to Dallas to play the Cowboys. I got so much family. My family's going to the game. They're not even coming home for Thanksgiving. I got family going to that game. They're like cheap tickets. I'm like, well, I'm coming home, bro. I'm bringing my son home to see the family. You guys are going to that game down there. So, Jared, final thought, man, to close this out. Go ahead.
They say it's darkest before the dawn. It's pretty damn dark right now. It's hard to see the dawn coming, but hopefully it's around the corner.
Is Jared kind of? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching your Blue Rush post game live show. Brandon